Welcome to a new episode of Hard Talk. Today we will talk about the Indo-Pakistani conflict with special focus on the Kashmir region. To my right you can see British India, which was ruled until 1947 by the British. In 1947 the British left it and partitioned British India into Pakistan and East Pakistan, which is nowadays called Bangladesh. Already in 1947, those two countries went to war for the first time, here in the northern region of India, and the region is called Kashmir. As you can see, at the end of the war, India gained control of 2/3 of that region, which is in the south, and Pakistan 1/3 of the region, which is in the north, and the border between those two regions is called line of control. In 1965, the two countries went to war again, when Pakistan tried to gain control over whole Kashmir. And as you can see, since the partition in 1947, this region has always been a reason for conflict between those two countries. For that reason, I've invited two experts to talk about the issue between the two countries. To my right, I have René Beer, which is an expert on India. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And to my left, I have Amadeo Disazi, which is an expert on Pakistan.
Good afternoon.
Thanks for coming. So, my first question for you two is, what is the interest of those two countries in that region, Kashmir?
For India, the imagined region of Kashmir, it's where it begins the nutrition process of the Indus river system, which is the main canal of nutrition of the northern west of India, which is a very arid zone, but also it's where more than 20% of the wheat is produced. It's well known as the name of the bread basket of the country. So for India, even the thought of losing this region will represent a national security problem. So for them it's very important to maintain this control over Kashmir. Also in the region of Kashmir, India possesses the hydroelectric plant, which produces energy for most of the north and west part of the country.
Well, that's a really good point. I mean, this conflict goes beyond like Muslims against Hindus. It's especially the water problem is one of the main problems, and we can see that Pakistan is one of the most water-stressed countries in the world. So in the future they're going to have a huge problem. And we can see here on the pictures that the Indus River, which has been named, goes first through the Indian part of Kashmir and then goes to Pakistan. So that's a huge problem because Pakistan depends on those rivers. His agriculture depends on these rivers. Moreover, Kashmir region is of high importance because of the Pakistan-China axis, which is going to play a huge role in the future, economically wise.
So, it seems like that the issue is water. Is there a political solution to this problem, or no?
Well, that's a really good question and a tricky though as well, because like there are talks about a political solution ongoing, but it's not so easy, like the past has shown. And there have been like 7 so-called scenarios elaborated, but none of them, I think in my opinion, is going to happen soon. So I will not go into deep all 7 scenarios. I will only mention the 2 most likely ones. So the first one is the so-called status quo, meaning that the security line would convert into a permanent frontier, meaning like India would lose territory because they're still showing their maps that Kashmir belongs to them, the other part. so they would lose territory, and Pakistan is neither really likely to accept this solution because there is a Muslim wali who would go straight to India, and they're not in favor of this solution. And then the other scenario would be that the Kashmir region will turn into an independent region, which from my point of view is neither really likely to happen, because both countries would lose huge land territory, and none of them is willing to accept it because they want to have a bigger footstep in this region.
That's right, there was an attempt for Kashmir people to become independent, but it was really small movement, and against such big countries it was nearly has any impact. However, there was an attempt of making political solutions back in the 60s. Since they are sharing both the Indus River system, they signed a treaty where they both agree on maintaining this natural flow of the waters.
Okay, so to me it appears that there might not be a political solution really in the near future. So, and as we know, India and Pakistan are nuclear powers. Do you think, or is there a potential of a nuclear war between those two countries?
Well, that's a difficult question. We can just assume, but as we all know, that they're in possession of a nuclear weapon, we can hope that those possession of nuclear weapon neutralize each other, yeah, from a nuclear war. Because if you make the decision to go on a war, it means like it's gonna cause a civil crisis. And both countries like are strong, they have a strong military force. And yeah, from my point of view, it's not going to happen soon, because Pakistan has a huge border with Afghanistan, and there are also like some conflicts going on, so they cannot really afford another war on the other side of the country. That would make the country even weaker, and economically would slow down.
Yeah, the same reason kind of for India having a nuclear war will represent for India and his ally, which is basically the States, doesn't represent any economical growth. It will represent devastation and really bad for economy. So I don't think it's possible in the near future, a nuclear war.
So, if I understood it correctly, the US is an important ally for India. So, what is the interest of the US in the Kashmir region?
Well, yeah, more than the Kashmir region, the US has been ally of India ever since the end of the World War II. During the Cold War, since states knew India had like a nuclear program, they make sure to have developed some kind of relationship to maintain some source of control over nuclear powers and to do good businesses. So it's all about for them to maintaining this economical growth that India had been showing out ever since the partition, I would say.
Okay, and Mr. Disasi, does Pakistan also have a close ally? And if yes, what interest is it for that country in the Kashmir region? What interest does it have?
Well, Pakistan has a really close relationship to China. China plays a crucial role in this conflict, and this is a long-lasting relationship between the two countries. And China is the main supplier of weapons to Pakistan and one of the main trading partners for Pakistan. So there's like a close relationship, and this relationship even got more into deep while with the heavy investment on the side of China. They invested heavily into a new port in the north of Pakistan, Gwadar port. We can see here on the map the Gwadar port, and their idea is to strengthen, to boost the economy with establishing of a so-called Pakistan-China economic corridor, meaning they want to connect the port with the mainland of China, because we all know the mainland of China is really weak compared to the countries on the coast, which has like a massive boost. So they want to establish a closer relationship.
Okay. So, with all the information you gave me today, my last question would be, what will the future look like in that region? What do you think? What will the outcome be?
Well, as I already mentioned, China plays a crucial role because now they got a bigger footprint in the region with investment, because with the new port they have closer access to the Middle East, so they can import the oil directly to this port and then ship it over or on the main road to China. So they want, or they try to maintain peace in this region, because that's gonna boost the economic, especially with the establishment of this corridor. I think the future really depends on strengthening, and that will maybe also bring India into the game.
Definitely. I think if Pakistan managed to build this set corridor, economical corridor, it will represent for India also better, having a better neighbor which they can do businesses, and maybe from there even start new relationships based on this economical growth. So it could represent and end up meaning good things for both nations. So I think it could end up being really favorable for both nations in the future, and not a neutral war, definitely. I don't think so.
Thank you both. We're at the end of our episode on Hard Talk, with special focus today on the Kashmir region. And thank you, Mr. Amadeo Disasi, for being here.
It's a pleasure.
And also thanks to you,
Thanks for
Mr.
having me.
There.
Nice to meet you.
And
Thank you very much.
thank you. Thank you. Thanks for watching this episode of Hard Talk, and see you next time. Have a good afternoon.